The long wait is over as the top motorcycle road racers in the United States don leathers and helmets to get back to work. Get back to the chase for the #1 plate. Get back to racing. The high-speed Road America comes alive as we kick off the 2020 MotoAmerica Superbike season right now on FS2.
We're kicking off the MotoAmerica AMA FIM North American Road Race Championship for 2020. It's round 1 of 10 Superbikes at Road America, #1 from Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, on a perfect day for racing. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the broadcast booth. I'm Greg White. Alongside me is Jason Pridmore, who's won 2 world titles in his day as a motorcycle racer. And Jason, here we are, HONOS Superbike, and it's really exciting as we start to kick this thing off.
It's been great. I think first practice yesterday, everybody was just kind of feeling things out. The lack of testing that these guys have been able to do over the last 3 months, just they've been sitting at home. They've been training, but a lot of them haven't been able to get on their motorcycles. So it was kind of like that in the first practice yesterday, and we talked about it today. It just seems like there's a lot of franticness.
And let's talk about the series champ, Cameron Beaubier, as he makes a bit of a change. Cameron Beaubier came out of the box yesterday and smashed the outright track record here at Road America.
Yeah, even though I got done just telling you what I said, he was the only one, Greg. He got out there yesterday. It was 2.5 seconds quicker than everybody in the first session. Then he goes out and breaks the ultimate lap record here at 2:11.1 in the second section yesterday. So he wasn't waiting around for anything. There have been a couple little concerns over the last 2 days, so we're going to keep an eye on the #1 attack Yamaha as this race gets ready to progress. But he's really proven that the time off hasn't really hurt him too much.
No, and he didn't have a great run in Super Pole qualifying, but he was able to dig deep, and he only needed 2 laps to put himself in pole position.
Yeah, he's had a couple little issues. We've seen the bike smoke a couple times out of turn 5, and then he did 1 lap this morning in the qualifying, 15-minute qualifying, and we saw him getting off the bike, and the next thing you know, he did 2 laps and was able to put it on pole.
Yeah, it's not just outright speed that always gets you to the checkered flag. There's a lot of factors involved. But additionally to that, Jason, if Cameron Beaubier was to do something like get out front and start to check out, we expect a deep battle for second, third place on the racetrack, and possibly the win.
Yeah, and there's some guys like David Anthony who really surprised us. He didn't really get a lot of laps in the first practice yesterday, and the guy ended up qualifying 6th today, so that's really good. But 2nd to 8th is really close right now.
All right. Well, excitement grows as we inch closer and closer to the first race start of 2020 for the HONOS Superbike class.
Today's race coverage is brought to you by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
Back to Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin here in Road America as the excitement continues to build for the HONOS Superbike class. Let's get right down to Hannah Lopa.
A lot of big changes in the paddock here this season, one of the most notable changes being the redistribution of factory support. The M4 X-Star Suzuki team will now be responsible for Suzuki's factory efforts, fielding 2 riders this whole season, Tony Elias, the 2017 champ, and Bobby Fong, the 2019 Supersport champion. Another change down here on pit lane, we have a special guest pit reporter here with us this weekend, Jamie Howe. Jamie, how's it going?
Thanks, Hannah. You know, this is one of the most invigorating forms of racing I have ever seen in person. It's the control that is unmatched. Think about this. The front straightaway here at Road America is just over 4,400 feet long. Now, that allows these HONOS Superbikes to reach 184 miles an hour going into turn 1. Compare that to an IndyCar. They're only going 3 miles an hour faster, but they have 17 times more tire to use to do it. Now, because of that, a Superbike is putting nearly 500% more horsepower on each square inch of that tire. Now, why is that impressive? Well, these Superbike riders are able to do it in complete isolation. They have no radio communication, and their team has no live telemetry to help them out, even if they did. It's just rider and machine, and I am loving it.
Absolutely crazy, Jamie. That's amazing. And you talked about the front straightaway. Let's take a look at the track map, because this road course, Jason, the Yamaha track map, well, 4 miles long, 6.5 kilometers, 6 left-hand corners, and 8 right-handers. And this is a natural road course that is unparalleled in the entire United States of America. Turn 1's a good spot to pass, turn 12, and a whole host. Jason, let's right to the hot spots.
Yeah, the Suzuki track hot spots, Greg. You're right. When they said they were going to come here twice, there was a lot of happy people. Turn 1, you cannot see the apex of this turn as you're tipping in, Greg, and you're coming from 170, 180 mile an hour plus as you're going into this turn here. Then it's going to be down into turn 5. This is a place where it's a pretty iconic place for Road America. A lot of stuff goes on down there. The first run down to turn 5 can get a little bit hairy because you're going to be drafting so many different people. Turn 8, this is another spot where you're going to see people try to work somebody up underneath them here before you go into this long right turn 9 carousel. See the Speedville signs there. Riders will line themselves under certain letters there, and then you got this big long right-hander that just goes on forever. It goes downhill. If your bike's not working here, it's going to be a really, really long day. You can lose a lot of time in this section, Greg. So as you know, you're just leaned over for an extended long period of time. You roll out of here into a very well-built left-right chicane where you can also get some passing done. But the carousel is just one of those places where everybody wants to try to get their bikes the best they can. After you go through that said chicane, you're going to rip down to Canada Corner, turn 12. Down here, it gets very narrow because you're wide open again to top gear, and you're going to be back shifting 4 times on a Superbike back down to second gear. And then we're going to be, this is the run onto the big long front straightaway, Greg. Turn 14, come up out of there, up over that curbing, and up that big steep hill.
All right, it's getting close for that time. Time for Cameron Beaubier to start his defense of his number 1 plate.
Today's race coverage is brought to you by HONOS, the apparel brand that promotes talent within the adrenaline sports realm.
Welcome back to Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin for live race action. And Jason Pridmore, we're going to take a look at the starting grid here as Cameron Beaubier puts it on pole at a 2:11.7. Jake Gagne, Tony Elias on the front row. But Jason, quick start procedure, tell us about it.
Yeah, while you're looking at your favorite riders, a quick start procedure is this. We had a sighting lap. After the sighting lap, we normally have about 15 or 20 minutes before the start of a race, but we're not doing that because we don't want congregation here, obviously. So we've gone right into our warm-up lap, which these guys have just completed. Now we're ready to go green, Greg.
So you can see that riders are sitting over there. It gives you a really good look at how that downhill turn one run goes at Road America. So
Tony's going to try to get a great start here, Greg. He's got to get a good start and try to get in front of these Yamahas early, I feel.
So here we go, race one. HONOS Superbike is underway. Cameron Beaubier, the #1 plate, with a good launch off the start. And here goes that long drag race to turn number 1.
Here you go, Cameron Beaubier, the guy that they didn't want to see lead into turn 1 is going to do just that. Gagne is going to slot himself into second as he slides under Tony Elias, and Bobby Fong right there in fourth. Looked like Kyle Wyman got an unbelievable start from the third row. He's going to be 5th place right in front of Matthew Schultz. Schultz is looking to go down the inside, and he does in turn 3.
All the hard work in the offseason and the pandemic delays. Now, who's got what? This is danger zone for the rest of the field with Cameron Beaubier because his Yamaha R1 and the way Cameron rides, he needs an open racetrack and he needs to be able to flow through these corners.
Bobby Fong goes by his teammate down the back straightaway, slots himself into 3rd spot. Tony Elias is trying to get something and go back by, looking to see if there was any change a little bit further back, but they don't want to let Cameron just get a free run through all this little sort of infield section of Road America, if you will. You can see, Greg, the sun is out over in the back section. A little cloudy over here on the front straightaway, but as they make their first run down to turn 8, Cameron's got nothing but clear track in front of him.
So Cameron Beaubier, Monster Energy Attack Performance Yamaha. We're taking a close look at that tailpipe of Cameron Beaubier because all weekend long we've seen some puffs of smoke coming out of his R1. Not anything to do with the engine failure. It has to do with the fact of oil levels in this motorcycle, but MotoAmerica telling Cameron before the start of this race, fix it. Bobby Fong's going in pretty deep, and he makes a pass for second. So all of a sudden, Fong from 4th to 2nd in about a half a lap. Fong is on a charge.
This is what you expect from Bobby Fong. He gives a little wave back to Jake Gagne. He wants to get to the front. He does not want to see Cameron Beaubier get away. First ride on a superbike for Bobby Fong, and he's got himself up to 2nd. Gagne looks like he's working his way back up underneath him as they go into Canada corner.
Good move by Jake Gagne in his first ride on the Monster Energy Attack Performance Yamaha. Now he gets by Bobby Fong on the M4 X-Star Suzuki. To the final corner they go under braking.
A little bit of what you expected, though, Greg, from the second back, and you can see Bobby Fong makes a very early decision that he's going to go stuff it up underneath Jake Gagne into that chicane. Had to lift the bike up a little bit over that inside curbing, but makes the pass. Slowed himself down just a little bit in between, and here you go, down the front straightaway. And then as we look on the left hand of our screen, that's when Gagne went back up underneath Bobby Fong down into Canada corner.
Live pictures on the right part of your screen is Cameron Beaubier setting sail off into the distance. Jason, from a standing start, he did a 2:15.5.
That's really fast, and it's only going to get worse for these guys because he's shown that he's got the capabilities of dropping himself down into the 11s. So as he comes down into turn 5 this first time, let's see if we can get a look at that. But these guys right now are drafting and redrafting each other. Bobby Fong just doesn't look like he's going to do anything with Gagne down as they get down to the end of turn 5 there.
Tony Elias in 4th place, trying to make up time in his strong suit, I guess you could say, under braking. But Bobby Fong, his teammate, Jason, I'm a little surprised to see Fong. He's been chipping away at it, but it's only been a day and a half since we've been here, and he hasn't had a tremendous amount of testing on this M4 X-Star Suzuki, the ex-Yoshimura bikes that you see there.
Bobby's definitely a racer, though, isn't he?
Dude, he is.
Said that about him.
He's the reigning Super Sport champion, and he got a promotion to race a full Superbike, and he's impressing at the moment.
And we've seen as the fuel levels have gone down, we say this year after year with Tony Elias, he's able to chip back away and come up towards the front. So nothing's done with him yet. He's coming as he's got Matthew Schultz up now, who didn't get his best start, but he's coming up on the back of these guys as well.
Number 32, the first bike in your picture is Jake Gagne. He's had a storied career all over the place, couple of titles in AMA MotoAmerica competition, Super Sport Stock 1000 championship. And
did you see how much his bike spun up though this early out of the chicane? And that's going to allow Bobby to get up alongside. But like I said in the Suzuki hotspots, this is getting a little bit narrow down through that back straight into Canada corner. So it's a very big committed pass if you're going to do something there.
A lot of these riders choosing an extra soft front and rear Dunlop compound tire. Beaubier is going to come onto the straightaway, Jason. Now we're going to see what Cameron has in the tank as he's going to get his first flying lap. Jake Gagne just trying to keep him in sight. Bobby Fong on a very fast Suzuki GSX-R 1100. Crossed the line, a 2:11.6. Wow. So Beaubier has gone on race tires quicker than he qualified.
Yeah, and like I said, he's the only one that's been able to show that he can drop into the 11s, and just like that, he does it, Greg. 2:11.6, 2:11.1 yesterday. So, you know, if you think about it, it's not going to hurt his feelings to get 3 or 4 laps in and see +4 or +5. I really think that the guy with the most pressure is Gagne. When you see your teammate on the same exact bike getting away like he's getting away, he wants to do everything he can to get that monster attack Yamaha R1 in second place and keep it there. And you can see now Matthew Skoltz, Tony Elias's bike still wobbling a little bit as they go down that back straightaway.
We've seen that plenty of times here at Road America from that particular motorcycle when it was under a different canopy, Jason.
Yes.
But this time it just doesn't look. It looks a little bit looser for Tony, or the other competitors have got their rides sorted out a little better.
Yep, and they made some component changes overnight to try to probably help Tony with a little bit of the stabilization of that bike, but it's still just moving around. But you watch, he'll stay in that spot. Matthew Skoltz is the guy on the move.
He sure is.
Right now.
Matthew Skoltz, Westby Racing Yamaha. That's the 2020, the new Yamaha R1 that was launched at Laguna Seca last year during the MotoAmerica event.
This is a spot where Tony's losing a lot of time. You know, I talked about the carousel and how important it is. Look at the gap that Matthew Skoltz just pulled over Tony Elias just in that one long right-hand corner.
Let's check in with Jamie Howe.
I just checked in with Richard Stamboli, the crew chief for Cameron Beaubier, and he was telling me about that oil level. You guys mentioned it. They had smoke coming out of that engine, and nearly every time out on the racetrack this weekend, they said it was just too much oil in there. As it gets hot and they're out there on the track, it tends to rise, and then some little spill off was smoking, but they've taken it down. He says we're almost in our danger zone right now, but they've been told not to have any smoke out there on the racetrack, so they're a little nervous about it when they get to the end of the race.
Yeah, it's definitely going to make you feel that way because MotoAmerica has stayed very consistent with their rules. We've seen another couple of classes where if there's a little bit of smoke coming out, you got to try to take care of all the other competitors, don't you, Greg? So
yeah,
you do.
Sure it absolutely freaks you out. If you're behind that person smoking, you're freaked out because you're like, what's going to happen? What is going on? And not every rider has the information available that Jamie just gave us. But here we go. So Cameron Beaubier has a 2.4 second lead over his teammate Jake Gagne. Those are two Monster Energy Attack Performance Yamahas. Then right behind Bobby Fong, Matthew Skoltz on the 11. Drifting back a little bit is Tony Elias, Kyle Wyman in 6th on the Ducati. Josh Herron on a BMW in 7th. PJ Jacobson on a Ducati in 8th. David Anthony in 9th. And Jake Lewis, your top 10. So here's the thing about Monster Energy Attack Performance Yamaha. A blend, you could say, of the old factory team and Attack Performance. And so imagine taking everything that was great about the factory team and everything that's great about Attack Performance and blending them into one. And what you're seeing is Cameron Beaubier with a 2.5 second lead. And it's early days in this race.
2:12.3 the last lap by. He was 0.6 quicker than his teammate. All the guys behind were in the 12s. Matthew Skoltz did a 2:12.5. So, you know, when you look at it, he was only 0.3 off of what Beaubier did. So on brand new freshies, Beaubier was able to jump out there, get down to that 2:11.6 very early, pull this gap. We'll see if he's trying to manage, or if it stays the same for a lap, we'll see if Cameron puts in another flyer. But right now, these two guys are kind of locked into this battle for second, and Skoltz has kind of been there, but he's not quite been able to get all the way back up onto the back end of them. And again, Greg, it goes back. I don't mean to keep beating a dead horse type of thing, but all these straightaways that these two guys are coming on now, you see Gagne's bike moving around. Bobby's going to be able to draft up, and it just allows them to kind of work together, and it makes it really hard for a guy like Skoltz pushing his own wind.
Not only is, you know, Jake's bike moving around, Jason, but what I'm seeing, he's leaving a lot of Dunlop rubber on the racetrack, and that is not good as you keep going further and further into the race. And Bobby Fong, for sure, is seeing, he's not seeing the mark being left on the road, but he's certainly seeing the rear end of Jake Gagne's bike spin up.
Greg, he is seeing that black mark being left on the road.
You think so?
Yeah. When you're behind a guy and you're watching and you're seeing kind of the idiosyncrasies that they're doing, you're trying to look through them the best you can. But when you start seeing a bike moving around in front of you, it can also be an indication of where that person's getting on the gas compared to where you are. So there's all kinds of things that you can learn from that. And right now, when you look at these three bikes, the one person whose bike looks pretty good and solid still is Scholz. Scholz's bike didn't look like it was moving around quite as much as the two in front of him. So he's going to get to see a little bit of that himself.
The final sector that we see, actually mid-sector for Jake Gagne, he put in the fastest sector so far of the race. So he is pushing hard, and I think you're seeing the effects of that as that gap grew about a quarter or 3/4 of a lap ago.
Yeah, you can see right now 2:12.1 to 2:12.8, so he's still 7/10 quicker right now.
Let's go to Hannah.
Yeah, you guys mentioned Jake Gagne and setting such a fast lap. I think maybe some of his success could be attributed to the fact that yesterday they were really looking to work on setup and geometry for the bike for his entry into the corner. He was super happy with his corner exits, but they were really working on that front end feel, so I think that could be a big factor there.
Front end feel is everything, Hannah. You named it. So you want to be able to get into some of these corners and release that lever as early as you can to keep up your roll speed, use the exit that you need to use, and so on. So yesterday, Gagne wasn't close, was he, Greg?
No, he wasn't.
He was like doing 2:14s or 2:15s, I believe, and his teammate was doing 2:11s. They made a big step for him overnight.
Yeah, he gets the most improved on the report card from yesterday to today, does the 32 of Jake Gagne. M4 X-Star Suzuki, Bobby Fong in a podium position. He won't be happy with third place by any stretch of the imagination, but he's got to worry about Matthew Scholz. As Scholz, honestly, Westby Racing has not had the maximum amount of laps. They've had some problems yesterday into today, so Matthew Scholz is learning every single corner at this point.
No, that's exactly right. And you say that about Bobby Fong. I think right now a podium for him, Greg, he'd be really happy with that possibly. I mean, none of these three guys were even close yesterday, with the exception of Matthew Scholz. He got it down to trimming it away. He said to me yesterday afternoon, he says, Jace, I think I can do 12s. I think I can do 12s pretty consistently. And he's showing us that right now, as even in that second sector, Greg, he was quickest overall for the race in the second sector on this lap, and he's able to draw up on the back of those two guys in front of him now.
As we look at Cameron Beaubier leading the way, his lead has grown to 4 seconds, Jamie.
I'm going to go back to what you were saying about Matthew Scholz and being so in shape out on that bike. I talked to him earlier this weekend, and one of the things he really did in the offseason was focus himself on his training. He had an injury to his shoulder, which didn't allow him to do a whole lot of weightlifting and a whole lot of strength training, so he refocused himself to cardio, and he says that what the effect that it's had on him out on the bike is that he just feels fresher throughout the entire practice, qualifying, and especially during the race.
Yeah, and everybody that I've talked to, and even though I got a chance to see him, have just come up to me and say, Matthew's ripped. He's been doing a lot of work in the last few months. And I think, all these guys haven't been, like I said, just sitting around home doing nothing. They've been doing all their workouts that they need to get done. And it's also given them a chance to change some of that up a little bit as well, kind of get reset and refocused. But right now, he is the guy that's starting to catch up to these. Gagne was at 13 flat. Fong was at a 12.7. Scholz was at a 12.5 that last time through.
6.5 laps to go in this one. Beaubier leads the way by 4 seconds. The battle you're watching is for second place. Jake Gagne, the 32, leading this one over Bobby Fong on the 50-11, Matthew Scholz. Back a ways, another 3.5 seconds behind this battle is Tony Elias on the 24. And then you have Kyle Wyman, Josh Aaron, PJ Jacobson, David Anthony, Jake Lewis.
And it's been a while since we've seen Jake Gagne get to fight for any real podiums. So this is going to be making him feel pretty well, too. You can see he's got that thing drifting and moving everywhere. And you can see what it does. Bobby Fong is now, did he get up alongside of him enough, Greg? Not quite. It's so close there. And there's a part of you that always wonders, does he know I'm there? As you see Scholz now going up underneath Bobby Fong.
How about Matthew Scholz? And he makes a move, and into third place that he goes.
That's all going to be because of what Gagne did, though. It kind of made Fong think that he could go up the inside down that back straight, and he wasn't quite able to do it. He has to roll off. Scholz wide open still. Let's see now if this Westby bike can draft up or past that Attack Yamaha. He's a little bit wide on the exit, was Matthew there, coming off that last corner.
Front straightaway as they eke towards 185 miles per hour. In a draft, it can go as much as 195 miles per hour as Scholz has a look. Not enough on the top end for that draft move. By the way, For those watching abroad, 195 miles an hour, 314 kilometers per hour. And as Matthew Skoltz tries to find a way in turn number 3, Bobby Fong is getting closer.
Here you go. Here's a look at the pass. Bobby was just held up a little bit, and even though he knew Matthew was behind him, probably didn't realize that it got closed down that much, and he was able to, he opened the door a little bit. Matthew got through there, but now Bobby Fong on the right side of your screen got a double draft, and it looks like he has gone back past Matthew Skoltz, and look at them both fighting for that position down into turn 5, and Bobby Fong is going to take it back. Right before we got to see that replay, Greg, I was thinking to myself, Bobby Fong is going to get a double draft down there, and it's exactly what he was able to get.
Bobby Fong, your reigning Super Sport champion, who wrapped it up last year in MotoAmerica competition, getting the bump up in the M4X Suzuki team. Now doing a great job.
Longer races, bigger bike than he was on last year.
It takes a lot.
But we were talking about how fit Matthew Skoltz is. None of these top running guys are not fit. They are all fit. But Bobby Fong, again, another guy who over the offseason worked a lot, again, with Josh Hayes, both on and off the racetrack. And his fitness level is insane as well right now.
All right, so working about 5.5 laps to go into the chicane. Turn number 11, and out they go. Gagne continues to lead the way.
Got out of there better that time, didn't he?
Yeah, and Jason, as we look at it too, we're going to start getting into the window of who is going to have the tire. Who's been pushing so hard? Do they have the tire to take them the distance? We know that Jake Gagne has certainly, as he makes a mistake, he goes wide. Gagne leaves the door open. They go side by side, but it looks like Fong's going to have it. Gagne, yes, he'll have to give it up.
Yep, now Gagne is going to have to go to work because Skoltz is going to try to attack him in the last corner. You can see it coming. There it is, Greg. He's, anytime you see a guy get past, if you're the third rider back, you want to attack that guy as well. Is exactly what he did. Gagne should be able to draft. Let's see if he can draft back by Skoltz as they come onto the front straight.
Second place is Bobby Fong at the moment. Your leader, Cameron Beaubier, peels it into turn 1, 2:12.4 for him. These riders, 2:13.2, so they're not making any inroads. Now Beaubier's lead has grown to 6.3 seconds. But this back and forth battle is as close as you like it. The battle for second and third place. One of these riders not going to be on the podium. Here's a replay, Jason.
Yep, this is going to be down into Canada corner. It's a little bit bumpy down there, Greg, and if you don't feel comfortable turning the bike in, like Jake didn't look there, he didn't look real positive. He probably just got in there just a touch deep, and he, this is, it gives Bobby just enough room to sneak up underneath him there. And then in the corner right after this fast left-hander that they went through, Matthew Skoltz was able to do the same thing. Matthew is up through on Bobby Fong, so he drafted him down the back straightaway and was able to get by him as they go into turn 5. So the Yamaha Westby rider is up to second place now. Bobby Fong back to third again, but this time he's following a different Yamaha.
Matthew Skoltz, 27 years old, out of South Africa, works his way into second place. Of course, Matthew Skoltz, a race winner in the HONOS Superbike class before. What did you see there, Jay?
Bobby's tire looks like it's starting to spin up a little bit as well. Both him and Jake, both their tires look like they were just spinning up a little bit earlier in the race than maybe they would like. And I said earlier that Matthew's bike looked pretty stable, so we'll see if he's able to do anything with that. This will be a tell coming out of this right-hander here. Let's see here. Matt's bike's driving pretty hard forward. So is Bobby's there. So wasn't so bad. But out of turn 8 just then, you can see Bobby's bike moving around a little bit.
I'm going to talk about those tires for just a minute. Dunlop telling me that it's the last 3 laps of this race where you could see those tires really chewed up. And it's not the Road America's surface. It's not an abrasive racetrack. What it is the demand of the speed. It's the long straightaways. The tire never really has a chance to cool off. So to compensate for that, Dunlop designed a special tire that's specific here to this racetrack. In the middle of it, there's a thinner gauge of rubber, so it doesn't build as much heat. So even the best rider with proper tire management still has to think about it at the end of this race.
Yeah, that's a great point, Jamie. And when you start talking about thin gauge, thicker the tire, the more heat it's going to have. So when they go thin gauge down these front straightaway, back straightaway, there's so many straightaways here where we're going 190 mile an hour that's what they do that for. And Hannah, you have some more on this, I believe.
Adding on what Jamie was saying, Beaubier and Skoltz are both on extra soft front, extra soft rear tires, according to our friend Tony Romo over at Dunlop. Bobby Fong is actually on a soft front, so we'll have to see if that gives him an advantage, if that tire will hold up a little bit better, a little bit longer over the other two in the top 3 right now.
Yeah, for sure. I think we're in that window in terms of temperature, track temperature itself, Jason, where and feel. That extra soft tire tends to be a little bit squishy for some riders under hard braking, and Bobby likes a little bit stiffer of a compound. The carcasses are the same. The compound is what Hannah's talking about.
Just a little bit different. So, Tony
no.
Elias looks like he's out. He's parking his M4 X-Star Suzuki. That would probably be, looks like turn 3. Looks like the inside of turn 3, Greg. So, yeah, not sure what's going on there. That's unusual.
Wow, so Tony, his goal was to come out of here with more points than he had last year. But at this moment, it doesn't look like that's going to happen. So the Scud Missile pulling that motorcycle off.
Yeah, that's going to be coming down turn 2 into 3. And
it doesn't look like he's been able to diagnose. Normally, when we see a rider pull off, they're going to look specifically at their motorcycle. Like if it was motor, you'd be looking at the motor, even though you can't. Oh, you can see. So yeah, so Tony Elias, it looks like his day is done, unfortunately, for the 2017 HONOS Superbike champion from Spain. Tony Elias, the 37-year-old, parks it. And we go to Cameron Beaubier, the number 1, who's now 6.7 seconds adrift of his competition. So, Jason, what was interesting was Cameron's strategy that he talked about with me yesterday is playing out. He said, I need to put my head down for the first 2 laps of this race, break the draft, and control the pace. And that was that lap he did early on at 2:11.6, which really created that gap, and he's just been able to eke away to this battle for second place that Matthew Schultz is leading.
Yeah, and the biggest thing that you can notice about this battle for second is the other 2 guys just can't get quite close enough to Matthew when they come onto these straightaways to be able to kind of draft him and get up to him. That's why I think that that little bit of extra grip that Matthew continues to have might be playing out. The good thing is that Bobby will just keep grinding these laps away and do everything he can to hold on to the back of Matthew to the end. So as they're going to come up over here, this is coming down into turn 3 now, and you can see Bobby is closed up on that front straightaway a little bit. Now, got to be able to get out of this corner really good, Greg, turn 3, and then you're going to be, just behind it. Here you go. You're going to be able to see if Bobby's able to, did he get close enough to start getting into this draft? He's in there now. Matthew might go over to the left, but Bobby's going to go to the left instead and draft right back by him.
So a draft and pass move by Bobby Fong, and Matthew Schultz is so late on the brakes. Is he going to be able to make the corner? He's a little wide, Jason. He gets it up onto the meat of the tire and drives out, and he'll hold on to the position. That was dicey for a moment.
Yep, and then you come up under here into turn 6. We've seen that happen a couple of laps now where he runs a little bit wide in 5, but he just lets go of the lever so that he can hold Bobby Fong at bay going down into turn 5. And all the while, Jake Gagne is just kind of sitting there wondering, when these 2 guys are going to engage with each other again.
Entertaining seat of your pants racing. People watching from all over the world, including 5-time World Superbike champ Jonathan Ray taking a look, and he's enjoying this as Bobby tried to make that move, Jason.
Yep, Bobby tried. It looked like he was up alongside of him going down into there, and Matthew just let go of the brake. Now what that's going to see is you can see Bobby's bike's going to get upright and driving a little bit sooner, but Matthew does a smart thing. Even though his drive wasn't as good, he kind of moved it back over to the left to prevent Bobby from going underneath him as they went under the bridge.
Number 11, Matthew Schultz from South Africa, Westby Racing Yamaha R1, brand new 2020 motorcycle. Bobby Fong, M4 X-Star, Suzuki GSXR 1000. A very fast motorcycle. It's been known for the last couple years to have it on the top end, especially here at Road America. Bobby Fong, if he's got a chance to move from 3rd to 2nd, he's got to be able to get close to Matthew Schultz, who's really starting to twist the grip hard as Bobby's starting to lose just a little bit of ground.
It's all in that lower section too there, and Matthew's pulled out this little bit of a gap, and we'll see if Gagne is able to draft past Bobby as they come up the front straight. It looks like he had a really good drive on him.
The gap back to Matthew Schultz, the number 11. Here comes Jake Gagne. He looks like he's pulled out of the draft.
Not quite close enough, though.
Just a rehearsal. Of course, at this point, if Jake Gagne, Jason, doesn't feel like he can get away from Bobby, do you really want to duke it out with him, or do you want to try to wait until maybe that last lap to make your move?
Well, we only got 2 to go. So at this point, you got to try to kind of get what's delivered to you. If Gagne thinks he's got anything in the tank that he can go after Matthew, he's going to want to do something now. But you can see he's really in his draft now, and he's going to do something with Bobby as they come down to turn 5.
Hard braking, hard to keep the rear end on the ground, and Jake Gagne goes up the inside. He definitely got it slowed down, and he tries to park Bobby Fong, but he'll move.
It's a big move here for Bobby. Nope, Bobby can't quite get there. So now
3rd place for Jake Gagne.
Yep, but you can see all the movement from both those guys behind, and Matthew's bike looks like it's just tracking just a little bit nicer for him. So you can see Jake's bike kind of getting tied in knots. And, Greg, the hardest part about this track is it's when you see someone getting away from you, your natural instinct is I got to break deeper into corners. And when you come from the speeds that you're coming from here at Road America, it's hard to do that lap after lap after lap without making an error. So that's going to be the hardest thing right now for Gagne is he wants to close that gap down. He might not have the grip, so he's going to try to rely on the front tire a little bit. Look at how good Cameron Beaubier's bike still looks.
A Monster Energy Attack Performance Yamaha. Cameron Beaubier out front on this one with his teammate in third, Jake Gagne, who got the call late last season when Garrett Gerloff took off and went to World Superbike. We thought Bobby had a good drive on him. Jason, sometimes those extreme lean angles when you're accelerating can boost that RPM. Yep, Jake's wide, but he's going to be able to hold it.
Yep.
That's the move. Bobby's got to be close enough to take advantage of any mistake that Jake's going to make.
And he was before, but that's Jake trying to make up time on Matthew on the brakes, and it's very hard to do consistently lap after lap. It looks like they've closed the gap ever so slightly on Matthew this lap in the last couple of sectors, looking at our splits here, and that is just the case just a little bit in those last couple sectors. White flag, last lap for these guys. So this battle for second is going to try to get sorted out right now, and it looks like Gagne has closed that gap back up, and what's it done? It's brought Bobby along with him.
So he's dragging him up. So the battle for second and third spot and fourth. Of course, one of these riders not going to be able to go to Parc Ferme and stand on that virtual podium, as we don't have race fans here at Road America, but we are at full race sail as HONOS Superbike race number 1 is coming to a close close, and Cameron Beaubier make it all the way to the checkered flag and notch his first win of the season. It doesn't look to us that Cameron Beaubier, judging from lap times, has turned a wrong wheel at all.
Still doing 2:12.3 that last lap through, so very comfortable in the low 12s. The other guys now are pretty consistently high 12s, low 13s that last lap by. The thing about Cameron is his bike never really gets out of shape. He's not a guy that's really backing the thing in anywhere or doing any of that stuff. And here you go. Bobby Fong had got through. Now Jake Gagne is firing it back into turn 8 there. And he gets it back underneath.
And that all plays in the favor, though, of number 11, Skoltz, because these two are roughing each other up, slowing each other down.
No, that's exactly right. And those guys are going to battle all the way to the end for third. But Cameron has just done exactly what he wanted to do. And you'd kind of expect that, Cameron's been on this bike now for 5 years, 6 years, won 4 Superbike championships. Look at these two guys.
Side by side they go. Bobby Fong trying to get the meat of the tire with that Suzuki, and they're still side by side. Who's going to give way as they head off into Canada corner? Jake Gagne's not been extremely strong into here. Bobby Fong trying to get that inside line. Gagne deep on the brakes. He's going to get a turn. Can he find the apex? He does. So that was nice and tidy.
That was some
Cameron
clean racing
Beaubier
too.
out front. It was nice close racing. Now it looks like Gagne has got a bit of an advantage on this final lap with only a corner to go. Matthew Skoltz, he'll bend it into the final turn, number 14. Here comes Cameron Beaubier across the line to take the first win of the 2020 season. But what about the final spots on the podium? Matthew Skoltz from Westby Racing will grab that, and Jake Gagne in a great battle with Bobby Fong will finish third. Hate to see it for Bobby in his first time on a Superbike. And how about this guy, Kyle Wyman, number 33 on the Indy Motorsports Ranch, KWR Ducati.
Ends up 5th.
Great points haul for him as we await the arrival of Josh Herron. He'll come across the line. Fan favorite on the Scheibe Racing BMW, PJ Jacobson in 7th. And what a race for those 3 riders. And Cam Beaubier, after breaking the track record yesterday in blustery conditions. I mean, it was cloudy. The track temperature was cool. The wind was blowing him all over the track, and he was able to do a 2:11.1. And he backs that up in qualifying with an 11.7 and then an 11.6 in the race. And Cameron Beaubier was so far out front, his fellow riders are telling him
where they finished.
Well, you see, he did over here. And we go to some racetracks, we have a scoring tower.
Exactly.
It's easy to look, but
there
here
used to be one, Greg. You'd come down the straightaway that they're going down as Matthew's doing a very good stand-up wheelie right now.
While his crew is saying, please do not starve this 2020 Yamaha R1 motor of oil, my friend.
But you come down this thing, and way off in the distance, they had the biggest scoreboard you could ever see. So you'd come down this hill, and you'd be able to look up and see kind of who's running in and around you, and it was a bit of a help, really. So, but Jake Gagne, it's going to be great to see him back on the podium.
It is. 2-time national champ, of course. Went to World Superbike for a stint on the Honda after Nicky Hayden passed away, and Gagne got the call to go there, and of course that bike not the most up-to-snuff motorcycle we've seen in World Superbike competition, but now back in the United States and proving that when he got the call from Keith McCarty over at Yamaha to be teammates with Cameron Beaubier, that it was the right call.
And he took Garrett Gerloff's spot, who has been good. I heard Garrett was actually here, which is really neat to think that Gerloff is here, but Gagne jumped into that spot, and now, you know, gets a podium. And I tell you what, if you would have seen what I saw yesterday in the infield, I wouldn't have bet that Gagne was going to be on the podium. So it just goes to show how close-knit that team is down there. The Taki Yamaha team did a good job to put a bike underneath him overnight, and that he could come out today and do well on.
And people have talked in the offseason about no Yamaha factory bike. What Yamaha did was collect their pile of money, and they distribute it in different ways. And how does that reward Yamaha? Well, they have 3 2020 Yamaha R1s that will fill the podium in Parc Fermé. Don't go anywhere, because we're going to hear from Cam Beaubier, Matthew Skoltz, and Jake Gagne.
Today's race coverage has been brought to you by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
Back at Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, as Cameron Beaubier won by 7.8 seconds. But for all you Tony Elias fans out there, the 2017 champion, what happened to him? Well, thanks to our spotter, Wes, we were able to notice, Jason, that
No chain.
no chain.
No chain. Wes just let us know there's no chain, but you can see some smoke. See the smoke?
Yeah, you
There's
can
like
see
a
that
little bit
smoke,
of smoke,
and I saw that,
Yeah.
and that's what kind of made me
threw us off a little bit.
But anyway,
yeah, you can clearly see that there's no chain there for Tony.
So there you go. Let's take a look at those results, as Tony Elias is going to be at the end of these. But it's Cameron Beaubier over Matthew Skoltz and Jake Gagne. They are in Parc Fermé. Bobby Fong, what an effort. Half a second back from the box. He's going to be thinking about that one. Kyle Wyman, great run for him. Josh Herron, his first time on that BMW. PJ Jacobson in 7th place. David Anthony on back through the field. Jason, you have Cam Peterson, Corey Alexander, a bunch of familiar names in the mix. Some riders on Stock 1000 spec machines. But now it's time, my favorite time of day. We get to hear from the rider on how it went. Here's Hannah.
This victory here at Road America marks the 6th for Cameron in his Superbike career, and of course the first of the season. He has been singing his new crew chief Richard Stamboli praises all weekend. Cam, how do you think that Richard was able to prepare your motorcycle a little bit differently than maybe you're used to in the past for your victory today?
Yeah, man, we definitely did our homework over the off season. Richard has built me an amazing bike. This Monster Attack Yamaha has been on rails all weekend, and I'm just truly enjoying being back at the races with all the MotoAmerica family, my team. It just feels so good to get a win for these guys. I know how hard they work. They've been up since 11 o'clock at night working on this bike. So yeah, happy to be back racing. Big thanks to 6D, Alpine Star, the man above. All my friends and family watching at home, and ready for things to get back to normal.
Congratulations. Thanks, Cam. Let's go on over to Jamie, who has our 2nd place finisher.
And that's Matthew Skoltz, and it wasn't an easy weekend for him. They lost some track time, having to work through some of the challenges, some little issues that they were having. But the team told him, Matthew, when you came to victory lane, that you gathered it up mentally. How were you able to do that?
We kind of knew that we had the pace to be challenging for the podium spot, so I didn't go off to the greatest start, but just kept my head down, managed to catch up to the back of Bobby and Gagne, and then I think I passed them with about 3 laps to go and just rode my own race from there. Fortunately, they were battling, so that kind of helped me out. Like you said, we did miss vital track time, so hopefully tomorrow we can just look at the setup and just get things a tiny bit better. But I'm just really thankful to be here, that we were able to actually, start the season off. I know that my family and friends are watching back home, and just really looking forward to the second race and seeing what we can do there. Thank you, guys.
Nice shot. Let's go back to Hannah.
Jake Gagne rounding out this trio of Yamahas for 3rd place in today's race. Jake, Bobby was putting some big pressure on you at the very end of the race. What was the most important thing for you to focus on in that last lap?
Yeah, Bobby put on a good fight. Matt put on a great fight. But yeah, we had a little bit of back and forth right there with Bobby at the end, and it was fun. We came out of the chicane side by side, and I was like, man, I'm just going to go deeper down into Canada corner and try to make sure I can hold it. But this Monster Energy Attack Performance R1 was working amazing, and my team has been working hard all weekend, and we've been just making steady progress. So I'm really looking forward to tomorrow. Hopefully we can make a couple tweaks and be a little bit quicker tomorrow, try to get closer to my teammate over there. But big thanks to my team, Monster Energy Attack Performance, Yamalube, Yamaha Financial Services, and Alpine Stars, Bell Helmets. Thanks to everybody for watching at home, and we'll see you soon out here at the races.
Congrats, Jake. Greg?
Well, it's definitely time to put the thinking caps on. No time to celebrate. It's homework. More from Road America in a moment. With Jason Pridmore, Cantaloupe, and Jamie Howe. And Jason, has your heartbeat started to drop just a little bit because that battle for second place got a little dicey there on the last lap?
It was really good, that battle for the last lap there, Greg. I think when you look back at it, what I'm breathing a little sigh of relief from is that Cameron only won by 7.8 seconds, because yesterday it looked like he could win by 20. So 7.8 seconds today was good. It's given those other guys some chance to go back tonight and make some improvements.
Here's some highlights from race 1. Jason, take us through it.
Well, right from the start, Cameron Beaubier got the start that he needed to do. You can see Jake Gagne slid up underneath Tony Elias with Bobby Fong back there and forth. But Bobby was the guy on the move. He got by his teammate early, then went after Gagne. And these guys will go back and forth and kind of be glued together, not only the entire race, but really on the last lap, all down through this section. They were very close again. You can see Bobby give Jake a little wave there, and Gagne returned the favor to go right back up underneath him. And this is still when Tony Elias was a part of this battle at the beginning of the race. This little mix between these guys was allowing Cameron to get further and further away, as you can see here. But then all of a sudden, Matthew Schultz started to come to the front. He himself got past Tony Elias, put his sights set on those two people, Bobby Fong and Jake Gagne, just off the road, and he started to make inroads. And not only did he make inroads, he started to make some moves. He was able to get by both these guys. It looked to me like he had a little better grip than both of them as the race wore on. And as you can see here, it was just a revolving door between these three guys. One guy would lead, another guy would get by, take advantage of each other, passing the guy in front of them the whole time. As the race wore down, we saw Jake make a couple little mistakes going down into Canada corner, which allowed Bobby Fong to sneak up underneath him. And all the while, this was just allowing this group to stay closer and closer together. Greg and I both saw Tony pull off, but we didn't see that there was a chain missing. That was what ended his race today. And then Matthew Schultz started to try to break away. Gagne, though, wasn't done. He ended up getting by Bobby Fong. Those guys battled all the way to the end. This guy, though, our defending champ, wins the race. And, rest is history. Schultz second.
And then he asks, so how'd you guys do? And this is how they did. Now, this is the point standings, and of course, in MotoAmerica competition, in all the classes, 25 points is the win, and then 20 for second and 16 for third. So these are the points on how they sit after race 1 of the HONOS Superbike class, where we have 20 races on the schedule by the end of the season. And the guy with the big smile on his face, Cameron Beaubier, is looking to grab that #1 plate once again. Our schedule for the remainder of the year, you can see we come back to Road America, and then we're going to go to Georgia. We're going to go around Pittsburgh to the Ridge, New Jersey. It's awesome. Go check out MotoAmerica.com. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow from Road America in Wisconsin.